Hey everyone, welcome to the results video of the Halloween Ride Creation Contest. In this contest all the players had to build a spooky ride. Now, it could be any ride as long as it was in the theme of Halloween. Now, we got some really beautiful entries in this round. I will start with the one that got last place and I'll finish by announcing who is the winner of this round. Okay, in the last place we have this entry from S. Fisher 923. So yeah, he already said what's his first entry, so yeah, it's not too spectacular. Yeah, what I can recommend this player is to basically try to blend things in a bit more. For example, everything is mostly in its own contained area. For example, here's a little coaster with really nothing around it. Here's a building with nothing around it, and the land is mostly flat. It will probably look better with some elevation changes. Yeah, some foliage will probably also help. It just looks a bit too empty, this map. I do like these cars that seem to be stranded here. That's actually pretty cool, pretty spooky. But yeah, overall, this entry just needs a lot more stuff to look at. Okay, here's the entry from the Claude QC. Now, this is the Claude, the QC entry, so that means it's quite chaotic, as usual. Probably will look better if it's not as chaotic as these entries usually are. I mean, there's just stuff blinking, moving everywhere. There's these signs with weird jokes that nobody gets everywhere. So yeah, that's it's probably better without these signs, and yeah, just lots of stuff going on everywhere. I think it will look better if it's a bit less chaotic, just so the viewers will have something to focus on, rather than it just being a bit random. So, for example, the color scheme of this coaster just is all over the place. Yeah, I really recommend to not make it so very chaotic. By the way, something which was in this round, which we haven't had in any of the other rounds, is that players were actually allowed to place recolorable versions of objects that are in the base game. So, for example, they could also place colorable trees, stuff like that. Alright, let's move on to the next entry. Okay, here's the entry from Volcano. Now, I actually quite like this map. There's some nice landscaping, some nice castle buildings, which are pretty chaotic, to be fair. I do like these graveyards, stuff like that. They actually look pretty nice. It's fun to watch all these guys walk in between all these gravestones. Also some torture devices. You can see a Ferris wheel here, which has 255 rotations. And it's surrounded by these skeletons, which are beating it with their swords. That does seem like quite a scary ride. Oof, that's quite the intensity rating. Now, of course, the main ride is this coaster here. I'll say it does look quite alright, although I don't think this color scheme is very fitting for the map. This blue is a big contrast with the rest of the colors in the map. Probably would have looked better if, for example, color was black like this, or just anything else than rather than blue. Oh yeah, overall I think it's pretty nice. The scenery is a little bit spammy though here in main places, and for the coaster, probably could have gotten rid of this helix. Overall, I think it's quite an alright entry. Good job. Okay, here's the entry from Low Poly Surf, who took a break from our contests for over a year. So it's always nice to see people return. Oh, Low Poly Surf made this coaster, which has several launch sections, also several block sections. I do see trains have to wait here sometimes, so maybe some better timing would have been nice. Yeah, I think it's quite some nice decorations. Looks like a graveyard here, which the coaster passes through. So quite nice to see how it passes through this church. You can actually see all the guests walk on this path here on the side. I'm not sure why this map is so high up. Maybe it would have been nice if there was also some landscape over here in this section. But, yeah, overall I think the landscape is actually pretty nice. Very nicely decorated. Maybe the coaster could have had some more interaction with the church. But overall I think yeah, this is quite a nice park. Okay, here's the entry from NFE. Oh, immediately when you open the park, a few guests actually drown. Maybe they have been caught by these sharks, which are swimming in the red water. Oh yeah, I love the landscaping that NFE did in this entry. Also kind of like the map shape with these black tiles on the side. That's pretty cool. No, NFE didn't actually make a coaster, but he made this ghost train ride. No, I must say I quite like this castle which he built here. Interesting choices of colors for the roofs. Maybe not the best idea to have 4 different colors here for the roofs, because it does, yeah, kind of make. You can also see these supports in here, together with those colors. It doesn't really make it look like a roof. But the shape is actually pretty nice. I also like that you can actually see these ghost trains outside for several bits. Yeah, they're in shuttle mode, so they actually also have some backwards sections. That's actually pretty cool. Maybe it would have been nice to have like a bridge here outside, where they move to the end of the bridge, making it look like they fall off and then return back into the building. Something like that would have probably also been fun to have. Oh, it actually happens over here. Never mind. Right, also a little garden section here. So overall, I think that this is pretty nice map. I especially love the landscaping and the foliage in this map. That's pretty nice. Although some areas do look a little bit sparsely decorated. Maybe it could have used some more stuff here to look at. But overall, I think this is a pretty nice entry. Great job. Alright, then we have a tie for 13th place. This is the entry from Raymond L. Now, he also made a big mansion, except this mansion actually has a coaster in it, and also outside. Does actually look like it's missing some parts, so the haunted stairway, that's what the coaster is called. Now, it doesn't seem to be actually be able to attract a lot of people. There's only 4 people on it, and that must be because of its super high intensity rating. And that must be because of these lateral G-forces. I think those G-forces are probably unnecessary. And if you actually make the intensity rating a bit lower, then guests will actually ride it, and then it will be much more fun to actually watch the ride go around. Now, I actually do really like this sculpture that he made of this bat. It has a really nice shape, nice colors as well. So yeah, he did Raymond L did a great job there. So a mini golf here at the back, which actually merges into this maze. That's actually quite fun to watch, although I think he could have done a little bit more with this maze mini-golf combination. Overall, pretty nice. I think this high intensity rating is unnecessary. Okay, here we have the entry from R. Adrian 1994. Now, he actually made this big wooden coaster, which is missing some parts. But actually jumps over it quite nicely. Apparently, the story was something like that. This was a haunted coaster, which once per year comes to life with the help of some ghosts. It actually jumps over the track a few times. They also does some inversions in some of these parts where it's flying. So I think that's a really great way to implement this Halloween theme into this park. You can also see a wild mouse here, which actually also has some holes in the track. And in some of these holes, the train actually jumps down. So that's, here you can see it go. It's actually quite fun to watch. So yeah, I think this is a wonderful way to do the Halloween theme. Yeah, maybe it could have used some more nice buildings throughout the map. Or maybe it's a little bit of a darker theme. But yeah, overall, I think this is a beautiful entry from R. Adrian 1994. Alright, here's the entry from Old School. He made Dr. Dirklingstein's Phantom Rails. That's quite an interesting color scheme. This coaster actually looks pretty spooky with this blue color. It actually goes up this lift hill here and it has this vertical drop. It has these one car trains, and right over here it goes up the second lift hill. It actually does a little jump here and then goes through the rest of the track and already back to the station. Now, there's a lot of speed here, so I think maybe Old School could have done a little bit more with these trains. This jump also seems very tight. Probably could have used some more speed over here. I do really like the way Old School did these supports here. Actually, it looks like this tree is under the supports here, but it's actually right next to it. Yeah, these other rides in the park also have the same color scheme. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. I quite like the colors of these coasters. But maybe a little bit of variation in the color scheme would have been nice. But yeah, also the queue nicely decorated, also with these purple flowers here in this graveyard. So yeah, I think Old School did a great job here. Although the side of the map with these wall pieces here, is actually quite glitchy. So it might be something to avoid in the future, having these wall pieces right on the edge of the map. Okay, here's the entry from Flushed Foil 86. No, there was actually this story about Cherno Bog, I believe. Some kind of devil who came... well, I actually don't really remember the story. But yeah, I believe he came out and in the morning he would be driven out again. I believe it was based on some kind of animation. But yeah, I think this is a beautiful sculpture here on top of this hill. This looks really cool. Also this wooden coaster next to it. Oh, it's called Chernobog. Wooden coaster next to it. I think it looks beautiful. Has some nice supports as well. And a layout that goes all throughout this part of the map here. So quite a nice station. A little graveyard over there. Right here there's a big foresty section. So it looks like some horse-drawn carts. Haunted hayride. And right here in the corner there's this church with a launch rifle. Now I would generally recommend against cramming stuff like a building in the corner of the map, because it does indeed look a little bit squished in here. Now the foresty area, I think it's quite nice, although I do think this area of the map is missing some more buildings maybe. I think this foresty area would have looked nice with some maybe some ruined buildings or just something else which could draw the attention of the viewer. Overall, I think this is quite a nice map. Okay, next up is the entry from the DDrop and TheCheck. Now I quite like how they did this coaster. It's based on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's actually a coaster which has two really distinct themes. So this is probably the more sane part of the coaster. Just gently twisting around some helix and stuff like that. And then finally here it gets to the second part of the coaster, which is more more RMC-like, lots of big drops, inversions, weird banking. So yeah, two really distinct sections to the coaster. Now the station for this coaster also looks beautiful. Nice big building with a huge roof here as well. There's also several other rides. So yeah, it's the map actually looks really cool. But yeah, one thing I really didn't like, sorry about that, it's actually this blue color that was used here for these guests. I mean, the color is very saturated, and the way it's used here for these bricks, for example, I think it doesn't really look nice on the side of these bricks. Probably would have looked nicer if this color was less saturated. And it's used a lot throughout the map. And in my opinion, it looks a little bit weird. But yeah, lots of cool rides in the map. I especially love this Condor ride, even though it doesn't actually get its stats calculated. So it might be something to watch out for in the future. Just try to make it actually get its stats calculated, so guests will actually ride it. Alright, next up is the entry from Savvy Adam. He made this coaster which looks like an alpine coaster. It does look like this queue is glitched a little bit. A lot of guests are waiting in this queue. So probably, yeah, not really sure what happened there. But yeah, I really like the way Savvy Adam did the supports for this coaster. Also the different layers of track. I think this is a really nice combination together. So the colors in this map, I think they're beautiful. It's a really nice autumny kind of foliage. The guests actually walk directly on the hillside here. There's not actually any paths here. Actually, I think this looks pretty nice. There's also a different ride here. There's this, it's called Haunted Hay Ride. So the guests actually sit in carts which get pulled by this monster truck. It's a nice usage of the Ride Vehicle Editor plugin. Right, well yeah, that was already it. It would have been nice maybe if there were some more big buildings here or something else to draw the attention. But overall, I think Savvy Adam did a really nice job on this map. Especially this coaster, I think it looks beautiful. Okay, here's the entry from Delta Occlude. Now, he made a really nice wooden coaster here with these RMC supports on the side. This, yeah, the palette also looks really nice. It's one of those sunset palettes, and yeah, together with these trees, it really makes this this wooden coaster look really nice. I just love the colors on it, but also the other track types that are used on it. Also this single rail here on the middle of the track. I think that's actually quite a nice combination. Now the map is a little bit glitchy in some parts, especially for example this arch here under the bridge. Right now it's actually playing nice, but quite often it's just flickering like a Christmas tree. Now some beautiful buildings around this coaster here. Beautiful supports as well. Delta Occlude also made this mini golf ride here, which actually also uses these normal paths. Now, I often recommend putting some lamps on these paths. I think that would make it look a lot nicer. So in other parts of the map, some lamps will generally brighten up the paths here. Some really cool other rides here as well. I really like the way this top spin here is decorated. This looks great together with these paths or these circuit paths. You don't see them used often, but I think in this theme they work really nicely. It's also a full out roller coaster here. Yeah, that's really scary. Yeah, it's one of the less decorated parts of the map. Probably could have used a little bit more decoration here. But yeah, overall I think this is a wonderful map, and I especially love the colors here. Great work from Delta Occlude. Okay, here's the park from Lurker. Now it's a small map, but I think it looks beautiful. It's one of these laydown coasters, a type of coaster you don't see very often. But when done correctly, they can look really nice. And Lurker did a really nice job here. I love the way this coaster travels through the landscape here. This landscaping is done in a really nice way. And yeah, quite often people just build their coaster while ignoring the landscape. But this coaster follows the landscape really nicely. I especially love this section here where actually this loop travels around the brake run here. Well, yeah, beautifully laid out through the landscape, some nice interaction moments, especially for example over here, where there's a path right next to this coaster. So yeah, some beautiful buildings here as well. I love this entrance to the area with this Mr. Bones here. These buildings look great, and especially the station for this coaster looks incredible. Yeah, once again a wonderful entry from Lurker. Probably if it was maybe a little bit bigger in the same style, probably would have scored better. But yeah, this entry looks fantastic, and especially this coaster station looks beautiful. The only thing that it might probably that it could probably have used is maybe a queue that's a bit longer, because yeah, the amount of guests that's here can probably fit in one train. But yeah, like I said, a wonderful entry from Lurker. Okay, here's the entry from Hobeon. I actually made a dueling pair of coasters. It's actually a Woody dueling with an RMC coaster. No, that's I think that he did the dueling part really nicely, or well, more like a racing coaster. They race each other throughout this layout, and they follow each other really nicely. So they have some great interaction moments throughout the ride. And finally, here there's the brake run, and here they travel upwards again with this vertical lift. Now this building over here, I think it looks amazing. I love all these arches, but also all the different levels on which all these guests can walk. I always love parks where there's a lot of height difference and lots of levels which pass over each other. It really brings parks to life. Now there's also some other cool rides here. There's a really nicely decorated top spin here. And there's also this really cool swing ride here, which looks incredible with this single rail coaster here used for the roof. Hey, this is a wonderful entry from Hobeon. There's another coaster here. It's a beautiful woody with great supports throughout. You also did footers for it. I always like when people actually go through the trouble of doing that. And one of my favorite parts of the map is actually this Minotaur statue here, which is sitting on this single rail coaster track topped with this part of a mini golf hole and the statue on top. Yeah, it looks a pretty simple trick, but it just looks so nice as a statue here. So yeah, wonderful work once again from Hobeon. Alright, here's the entry from Ethan. He made the Bone Zone. Hey, he made a beautiful coaster here on this map. Also the map itself, it just looks so cool. It has such a cool theme, the colors are great. So it's like this really dark mountain, but there's this bright or red-ish, red-pinkish sections. Yeah, it's just such a cool color palette used in this map. One thing that annoyed me a bit though in this map is the constant spam of messages that's here. Of rides that have no path leading to their exit or entrance, or rides that have been broken down for ages. So yeah, it might be something to keep in mind the next time. Now, there's this coaster going around here called Trail of Bones. Yeah, it doesn't actually get any guests on it, also because of the ultra extreme intensity. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame, because it's a beautiful coaster. So it's yeah, they're always much more fun to watch if there's actually guests riding these coasters. Now, it's quite a difficult coaster to follow through the map, because it just goes everywhere, disappears into the ground everywhere. But it's such a cool ride. Let's see if we can find a train that's about to leave the station. Train 1 is about to leave, I think. There it goes. And the cool thing about this ride is that actually the trains go pretty slowly here. And somewhere over here, it will look like this flying train here. It will actually lift up the coaster. You can see it here. So here it slowly travels up, and now it looks like this flying coaster train is actually lifting the coaster up the mountain. I think that's a really cool trick. Such a fun way to hoist up the coaster. Lots of wacky stuff going on with this coaster throughout this entry. At some point it gets launched in this cannon. It goes under here throughout these buildings. There's even a pinball section where the coaster just gets bounced around between all these things. It's just such a fun coaster to watch. So yeah, that's also why this intensity rating is a shame, because nobody is actually riding it. If you have a coaster with ultra extreme intensity, it might be worth changing it into a lift ride type, because if it's a transport ride, the guests will ride it regardless of its intensity. And if all else fails, you can also always just manually edit the stats. I made a tutorial for that, and that should again get guests to actually ride the coaster. So yeah, wonderful entry from Ethan. Yeah, there's just so much cool stuff. You can download all these entries for yourself. They're available for download on the archive on my Discord server. You can find the link to my Discord server in the video description. Discord is completely free, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, I think it's time to move on to the next entry. Alright, the next entry is from Rhythm. Now, Rhythm made this absolutely incredible skull sculpture. We can probably call it a sculpture. Yeah, lots of snakes in this map. They're called snakes and bones. But yeah, if we wait a bit, you will see a lot of snakes coming out of this skull. It's something that looks really cool. I think it will be worth waiting for a bit. Ah, there they come. That just looks so cool. Yeah, I can just watch stuff like this for hours. This is just such a cool trick. Now, this big skull in the middle of the map, it looks incredible. It looks incredible from all angles, so that's really nice. It actually looks like there's some guests sitting inside this skull. I hadn't actually seen this before, so that's really funny. Well, yeah, lots of snakes throughout the map as well. There's lots of cool track texture stuff like that. There's even a custom top spin here. That's also really nicely done. He even also made these custom fountains, which are actually just coaster cars that peek out every now and then. That's also such a cool trick. So yeah, there's lots of really cool tricks used in this map. Also, there's this inverted coaster here, which actually uses all these bones here for the supports. Yeah, this map just has so many cool, fun elements. Also, this little skull here. So you might be wondering why this didn't rank any higher. And that's probably because this map doesn't really have any standout rides. This is the ride that players were asked to raid. It's actually a pair of powered coasters. Now, they are really nicely decorated, I have to admit that. These snakes that go on top of them, they just look so cool. Also all this grass around it, these snowball trees. It's just so nicely decorated. But yeah, powered coaster doesn't really stand out on its own. So if there was a bigger ride in this map, which was a bit more spectacular, then probably this entry would have easily ranked in the top 3. But yeah, just a really cool entry, a really cool map, and yeah, I think what Rhythm did here it's amazing. Alright, there are just 3 maps remaining. I will first show all 3 of them, and after that I will reveal which one is the winner of the round. Now here's the map from Bear and Mopia. They teamed up before in a different round, and once again they both created a beautiful map together. So here's the coaster called Jerobab, or something like that. Looks like a pretty scary coaster. Now the station of the ride is actually here inside this monster head made of all these rock pieces. It just looks so cool. Also the start of this coaster drops down with this vertical drop. Yeah, it's just such a fun layout for this coaster. Travels through all these structures. There's this inversion traveling on the underside of this rock arch. Yeah, just beautiful landscaping throughout. You can also see the coaster reverse over here. There's probably some kind of shoestring involved in this map. And then actually there's this backwards section for the coaster. It's just such a cool layout, and Mopia and Bear did a really nice job on that. Landscaping here, also beautiful. I also really love how they did this this monster here. Not really sure how they did it. Looks like some sort of monster truck trick. But yeah, this is really cool. Maybe if I change the colors, I can actually find out how they did it. But yeah, this is just a wonderful ride design from Mopia and Bear. I still haven't. Oh wait, this is actually some kind of vehicle. They probably just changed the vehicle type here. That's probably what they did. Must be these Cyclops vehicles. But yeah, you don't often see them used, but it's done in such a neat way here. Yeah, it's beautiful decorations throughout, wonderful buildings, wonderful landscaping. This map is just incredible. But yeah, go download this entry for yourself and check it out. It's just really cool, and there's a lot of all these beautiful scenes. Great work from Bear and Mopia. Alright, here's the entry from Enochs and Jens J. They made this coaster called Abysses. It has this beautiful castle here on top, which the coaster travels around. This just is so beautiful. I especially love this this spire here on top, also with this flag on top. This just looks so cool. So these towers also look incredible. Great landscaping as well. I love all this verticality, all these different kinds of rocks that they used. So the supports for this coaster also look really nice. Great foliage along the edge of the map. Also love this ship here. What I also like about this coaster is how it actually travels over this path section here. That's just some great interaction. And that will for sure warm up these guests to go take a ride on this coaster. Yeah, there's lots of beautiful decorations here. Lots of nice stuff can be found here. Especially these little pumpkins here. I think they look really fun. Also some really cool ships here docked in the harbor. So yeah, just a beautiful map. Beautiful castle, great coaster. So even a beautiful merry-go-round here called Eerie Go-Round. I love the way they decorated this this ride. So yeah, they just did a wonderful job on this map. Great work from Jens and Enochs. Alright, and finally here's this entry from Wacht. Wacht made this really nice inverted coaster inside this town. Now this town is just so full of detail. It's just incredible. First thing I want to mention is these supports, which Wacht used these barrels for. I think these supports they look really cool, and yeah, they just look really nice. I think they are really fitting for this coaster. So that's a really nice color scheme. I love this orange together with these black supports. And these supports, yeah, they just look really good. So there's a really nice foliage under the coaster. Great buildings as well. I love this station building here. Actually has a little cutout so you can actually see the train pass under there. That's just some nice details. Now wherever you look, there's just nice paths, buildings, really cool details everywhere. Here you can see a building called Brothel, and actually sells pumpkin spice broth. Here, cocoa broth. So yeah, it's not the kind of brothel you would expect. So yeah, just really nice buildings. I actually like how we used these colorable cattails to actually make smoke that comes out of these chimneys here. There's beautiful awnings for all these buildings, beautiful layering. Yeah, just funny details everywhere, like these leaking barrels over here. Here's a guy on the waterfront fishing. There's just so much cool stuff to see here. And it's one of those maps which you can yeah, just keep exploring for a long time. So yeah, just go download this map for yourself and go check out all the beautiful details. There's far more packed into this map than I could ever cover in this video. Alright, having shown the last 3 entries, it's now time to reveal which one of them is the winner of the round. The winner of the Halloween Ride Creation Contest is... The winner is Wacht. Yeah, beautiful entry, like I said before. It's full of detail. Doesn't really scream Halloween to me, but for sure it does look quite spooky. So yeah, just download all these entries for yourself and go check them out. They really deserve it. Alright, yeah, those were all the entries for this contest. A new contest will start soon. If you want to join one of these contests, simply become a member on my Discord server. The link can be found in the video description. Yeah, I'll see you again in the next video. See you later.